Well, folks, figured to get back on here because the last video I did and the one before that, I understand exactly what you're saying. You know, it's too far gone. It's too corrupt. Uh, Even the Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court, you know, it's corrupt from the standpoint of this. The the Constitution says what it means and means what it says. So you're either the Supreme Court justice should be all for it or all against it, whatever is coming before it. It shouldn't be any, 2 to 1, 5 to, it shouldn't be any of that bullshit. It should be all or none. Now, you know, filing charges against people, I get what you're saying. It's like not enough. Okay, I mean, there's so much going on, but you also have to remember you're not going to get 350 million people involved. But let's say you get 100,000 involved. Well, you start filling their courtrooms with this stuff because you don't have to go to court. You see, if you file it, the judge looks at it and goes, well, yeah, DA has to pick it up. You see, there's a whole other underlining here. It comes down to politics. And this is what we're playing with, politics. You see, every time you file a grievance, that anybody that has a bar card, you agree with them, they have to turn that into their insurance. They have to turn it into their insurance. Now, I explained this a while back. There's 7 insurance agencies. All are underwritten by Lloyd's of London. See, so if one drops you, all the others know the same thing because this comes from Lloyd's of London. That's their main carrier. They go back to them and go, no, this guy's already got some grievances against him. He's high risk. You see, their insurance goes up. If you're an attorney, get bar grieved, they go, huh. And your insurance, you're paying $20,000, $30,000 a year in insurance or malpractice insurance. All of a sudden, that may go up a lot. I mean, it could even double. Now, you do that enough times, you may not be able to afford the insurance. Or they may just drop it. And you can't be an attorney without malpractice insurance. So, and the same applies for police officers and cities and counties. They have to go to their insurance carrier and say, hey, we're getting sued. Same thing happens. Their insurance rates go up also. It's like getting in a car accident. Fucking horseshit. Anyways. You see, you're playing politics too. Besides putting them in a bind, you're playing politics with them. You're making their insurance rates go up. Now, if you are in a partnership with someone and you're a lawyer, they may look at you and go, buddy, you're making our insurance go up. You're making us look bad. And they could throw them out of the partnership. Say, look, you're tarnishing our name, and we want you out. Now you hurt him financially, big, because now his partners don't want him. He's out there all by himself, trying to scrounge up customers, and and so on and so forth. And partnering up with somebody, and he's already got a black strike on him. It's like nobody wants to get near this guy. So you're hurting him. Same thing with these cops. Who wants to hire a cop that has had how many lawsuits filed against them? They're going to look at that and go, well, this guy's high risk, man. I mean, we don't want to. Our insurance, it's like it being a drunk driver. Yeah, we could hire him, but our insurance may go up because of it, because they're going to check his background. The guy may not be able to get a job because of you filing a lawsuit. Now that happens to cities, and it happens to counties, and it happens to the states. It happens to all of them. Say they all have to have insurance. Now, when you're talking about cities and counties and states, government agency things, okay, they have bond ratings. And their bond ratings also go hand in hand with their insurance. Their insurance rates go, man, I don't know what's going on in that county. They must have really a bad police department. They're getting sued a lot. The courts are getting sued. There's bar grievances flying everywhere. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, we had a AAA bond rating. Now we got a triple B. It costs them more money to go and borrow. They have to borrow at a higher rate. And people don't want to buy their bonds. Insurance companies and brokerage companies and such do not want to buy their bonds. Say, because they're not rated well. Their bond rating is kind of like the credit scores. It's a credit score for you. If you got good credit, mediocre credit, bad credit, it shows up, and that affects your bond, and that determines whether you can get a loan for this or a loan for that, and also determines the terms of the loans. See, so just doing bar grievances and criminal complaints, there's a lot more to it than that. You see, you look at that on the surface, but then it gets down a lot deeper. Now all of a sudden, counties and cities are like, hey, you better get your people under control. We're going to fire you, chief. You need to get this under control. You're the reason we're getting the interest rates, so crappy. You're the reason why we can't sell the bonds. You're the reason our insurance rates are going up. You see, you got a bunch of people now putting pressure on these guys to straighten their crap up. Politics. Say. It's more than just, hey, here's a criminal complaint. It's here. Now we're going to go after your insurance rate, and we're also going to go after your bond ratings. Because they have to turn that stuff in. I hope I explained it well enough. Because there's also politics involved here. But I understand exactly what you're saying. It's corrupt. And it doesn't happen overnight. So, I mean, if you got more questions about it, I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad you're paying attention. And I agree with you. I mean, it's a shit show out there. And you're 100% right. The reason Jesus comes back is because of exactly what's going on right now. And it's going to get worse. It will be hell on earth. You know, I always remember the spot where I think Jesus, he was weak because he was, in a form of a man. I think he went on his fast or whatever it was. I forget. He was on his fast for, I forget how many days, a month maybe or something. Maybe a little longer. I can't remember. But he was weak. So the devil knew when to pick on him. Devil takes him and takes him to the highest mountain in the world and says to him, I'll give you all this. I'll give you my kingdom if you, Jesus, bow before me. Well, you have to remember, this is the beast, Satan's system. This is Satan's world, see what I'm saying? But who ultimately controls and owns it and everything else? Well, of course, God does. Why does God have to bow before Satan when he owns Satan? He created him and he threw him out. So there's nothing to bow to him for. But see, Satan's trying to trick him because he was weak and so on and so forth. But you're talking about God, divine. And, he just told basically, get out of here, But I always look at that like that is because, all this has to happen. I don't know if you pay attention to my old stuff, go back, watch any of the old stuff. But the horsemen and the bulls and all that stuff, that's God. That's not Satan. That's God pouring out the bulls. It's God's horsemen. It's God, see? It's God bringing the judgments upon the earth. It's not Satan. And all this has to happen for Jesus to come back and make it right. It's kind of like what happened with him on the cross. It had to happen. There's a certain way it went, and a certain way it had to happen, and he rose again, and the rest is history. And the same thing with this. This has to happen. That's why it's important to be right with God. That's why it's important to follow God, not man. God gives you a choice. He knows it's not going to be easy following me. It's hard following me because all these people are after you and want to condemn you and kill you and all this and that for my name's sake. He knows it. But that's how you become a righteous man. These wicked people don't understand that. You got to go along, get along. Where in the Bible does it say that? It says just the opposite. So, you can expect to have trouble. It's coming your way. And like I said, you can blindly follow these people because you're afraid and scared and you don't know what to do. Well, if that's the case, you don't know who God is. You don't know who Jesus is. You're lost. You're lost. So, just remember that. God's the truth. He's the way. He's the light. Nothing else. Just God, Jesus. Satan's a liar, underhanded, cheat. Can't trust him, period, for nothing. So, you can try doing the godly thing and the right thing, but eventually, Armageddon comes, and it has to. God will not stop it. He's the one pouring out the bowls. He's the one that has the horsemen. He's the one that releases the plagues and everything else. Say, I'm not to say that God doesn't take care of his own, because he does. That's why I'm saying you have to become righteous. So, with all this said, it's pretty simple, straightforward. You understand what I'm saying about bar grievances and criminal charges and that. There's that underlining to it also, the politics of their insurance and bond ratings also. So, and that also will affect them, the individual, down the road further when they try to get jobs or insurance and so on and so forth. So you may not get them on one, but you're hurting them on the other. Their insurance and bond ratings. See, these people, they don't think like that until it happens to them. They don't think like, oh, shit. Right. You know it'll happen before it happens. Because you understand how the system works. So, y'all, you take care. Glad you're listening and paying attention. That's encouraging right there.